The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were reputed to be part of a magnificent palace, where this palace was on the water or a canal, and yet the gardens were suspended above and in the air and watered in elaborate ways that were unique to the time, and had trees and plants and flowers that were so spectacular people came from all over to see them.
The fabled Hanging Gardens of Babylon were said to be as awe-inspiring in scale and beauty as the Great Pyramids of Egypt. But the gardens would have devoured an estimated 300 tons of water every day. It would have taken a canal this big. But there's one problem. Babylon is 300 miles south on the eastern bank of the Euphrates River. Archaeologists have spent centuries searching for any remains of the ancient gardens there, to no avail. Some scholars have begun to doubt they ever existed. This giant ancient canal, captured from space, cannot have fed the legendary Hanging Gardens. Unless the Hanging Gardens were not in Babylon after all.
It's entirely possible the Hanging Gardens were not in Babylon, that we've been looking in the wrong place.
There are many references to the spectacular Hanging Gardens in ancient texts. But the curious thing is, none of these references actually come from Babylonians.
There's no reference in any Babylonian text to a hanging garden or anything that could have been a hanging garden.
But if the Hanging Gardens weren't in Babylon, where were they? At the time when the gardens were said to exist, there were two great imperial powers in ancient Mesopotamia. There were the Babylonians, and there were the Assyrians.
The Assyrians were masters at water management. They were building canals, aqueducts, dams, weirs. They were controlling the water in a way that had never been done before.
Could it have been the Assyrians who built the Hanging Gardens?
The Hanging Gardens of Babylon was a name that was given to the Hanging Gardens much later, at a time when the Greeks and Romans often confused Assyria and Babylonia.
If we trace this winding network of waterways down through ancient Mesopotamia, it heads directly for another great city. A city to rival Babylon in wealth and majesty, the ancient Assyrian capital of Nineveh.
The corona image potentially points to the Hanging Gardens actually being at Nineveh, because you see this massive feature bringing water to the city of Nineveh. And so that certainly suggests to us that Nineveh could be a likely site for the Hanging Gardens.
But this is a dangerous region, too dangerous for an extensive archaeological excavation. Until that happens, this satellite image from the past is our most tantalizing clue in the hunt for the one remaining undiscovered wonder of the ancient world.